I would like to do one next and then leave it to you two wonderful people, Chuck and Briggie, to wrap up because I
Sure,
want to get this
sure.
out of the way because, it's another heavy tear jerking movie. Um,
Mhm.
but I'm pretty sure it's a favorite of Briggie's. And I don't know. You guys probably have both seen it too. Maybe not. Um, so I'm covering The Fountain from 2006 by Darren
That's what I was
Aronofsky.
going to cover. I was going to do the fountain.
You stole
I
my, you
that
psychically
was
stole, I psychically stole your idea.
fountain. I was going to do the fountain because I have the soundtrack and I am in love with that soundtrack.
Oh, I
So
used to listen to it over and over. I've got it from
please,
quarters. Yeah.
I want to hear your perspective, and it better be good because you're being judged right now.
Well, I thought about doing a symposium on the fountain specifically because I know Keith's a big fan, but getting me, you, and Keith in together at one time just seems like it won't happen until maybe 2026. So the way things are going. So I'm like, sorry, I want to cover the fountain, Keith. We can't wait any
Mhm,
longer.
mhm,
So anyway, I
mhm.
didn't mean to steal it from you though. Um, I was
Okay,
going to
as
do
long
the
as
Lathe of Heaven, which I started flipping through the book. I've got the book, but
Mhm,
I haven't seen the movie. I used to have the DVD. I haven't seen the movie in a while.
mhm,
I
mhm.
have seen it several times. I saw it when it premiered on PBS in '79, and oh, dating myself here, um,
It's okay.
but
It's
and
okay.
and then
That
I
mark
immediately
is done.
checked the book out of the library and loved it, and then I've only had the novel, and I got a mass market at a con like 6 or 7 years ago, but I've
Mhm.
never read the mass market copy I have. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna do Lathe of Heaven. I remember it, and I'm flipping through the book, and then I'm like, I don't know, I want to do this right, and then I don't know, and then I'm gonna have to talk about there's a remake and get into all that. So I mean, I don't have to, but I try to be thorough. But like, totally forgot when I covered Steam Bath that it was remade as a TV series briefly, which was interesting because it was so heavily censored, like the play
Mhm.
itself. But totally forgot that part. So oh well. Um, so the Fountain, yeah, 2006. Darren Aronofsky. I'll just go ahead and get it out of the way. I made this very hyperbolic statement on the Deep Images film group on Facebook, which precedes the show but is not dependent upon the show or vice versa. I mean, so they're just kind of. Bill White's the one who told me I should use a name I'd already come up with, and I was like, why? He's like, it's a good name, and I'm like, all right, why not? I couldn't think of anything else. Um, but on the group, I when I rewatched Fountain on Blu-ray a few months ago, I said that in my unpopular opinion that this is the finest work ever by Darren Aronofsky, Matthew Libatique, Clint Mansell, Hugh Jackman, or Rachel Weisz, and I will stand by that. All five of them, and
I'll
because
stand by it with you.
I'm very familiar with all of their works,
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I think it's a science fiction film for sure, and it's basically about a guy who is immortal. So coming off of playing Wolverine and Gabriel Van Helsing, Jackman was typecast as immortals apparently. So, but in this one, there's like a lot of twists. So he exists, and the movie shifts between three different time frames. And have y'all seen The Fountain? You other guys?
No.
You're
No.
missing out.
No.
You're
Yeah,
missing out.
I'm
she's
familiar with it. I've heard of it
yeah, yeah.
and
So
seen
good.
stuff about it, but I have not
Well,
watched
the
it.
funny thing about The Fountain was it was going to be an extremely expensive production
Mhm.
coming off of Aronofsky doing, I guess, Requiem for a Dream, which was very profitable, even though it was very controversial. And so they cast Brad Pitt and Kate Blanchett. I don't even like to think about that.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Um, yeah, it kind of disturbs me a little bit. Um,
mm-mm.
they cast them, and it was going to be like $150 million plus movie because of the fantasy element. So it got shelved because of Brad Pitt's schedule. Thank you, Brad Pitt. And they were like, by the time it came back around, they didn't have it like, I don't know, well under 100 million to make it. And they're like, let's go ahead and make it. we're still going to do practical. We're just going to do practical effects and no CGI. And I think there's a tiny bit of digital sweetening in it, but that's about it. There's no elaborate CGI like, you know, Marvel or Star Wars movies or any of that. But yeah, he's a character Thomas. So in the beginning is Tomas. He's a well, beginning is it is how the movie begins, but you know, it doesn't stay in chronological order. The anchor character is a guy named Tommy, who's a doctor who lives in modern day, that Jackman plays. And then but the movie begins with his oldest incarnation. He was a conquistador named Tomas who worked for Queen Isabella. It was played by Rachel Weisz. I think this is the most beautiful she's ever looked in a movie. Just the lighting behind her is just radiant. You know, he Tomas kind of worships her as a goddess, and you know, Hugh's got the long. It's not real, but it's got the long hair and the long beard, and incredible outfit, and it's amazing. They're trying to find, you know, the fountain of youth, and she tasks him with it. He takes all these conquistadors, and they run into these Aztecs, and they get captured. And then he apparently gets killed by an Aztec priest shaman with a flaming sword. And then he wakes up and he's somewhere else, which you know, but he has survived it. But so like 1,000, not 1,000, I guess 500 years later, he's the doctor, and his wife is played by Rachel Weisz. She's kind of like, her name's Izzy. So, you know, again, so like she's like a reincarnation, but he's like the same character. Though I know the literalists in the audience, you know, they'll insist that they're three different characters, but you know, this show isn't for them. We shun their narrow views. You know, you need to read between the lines, people. Come on, seriously. Use your imagination. And Tommy cannot cure her of this, you know, incurable disease, and it kind of left a little mysterious what the disease is, as far as I remember. If I get anything wrong, Briggie, I'm gonna hop in here, okay? No, not the dog. What? I didn't want you to hop in. Is that your dog, Chuck?
Yes. Every time you see me frantically hitting mute, there's a reason.
Oh, you know what? That's cool. It's cool. We're animal friendly. So I don't think my cat's gonna jump in my lap like last session, but it'd be nice. So
mine already made a cameo, so
yeah, and so did Bill's, as usual.
Lots of dogs and cats in the panelists' homes, obviously.
Absolutely.
Lots of dogs and cats.
Oh yes.
So Tommy is trying to cure this disease in vain, and it's some kind of blood disease, and he's doing all this like really advanced research. And so you have a dynamic kind of similar to a couple of years later in Antichrist, where, you know, Willem Dafoe, the psychiatrist, is trying to cure his mentally broken down wife. So it's definitely, you know, it's getting a little too close to the subject. But in this case, Tommy apparently is a brilliant enough doctor to where maybe he might be the only one who can cure his own wife. And his boss is Ellen Burstyn, who of course was in Requiem for a Dream by Aronofsky also. And she's like, I guess, the chief of staff or whatever. And, you know, she's got a lot of compassion, and, you know, she's always really good. And one of his fellow surgeons is played by Ethan Suplee in his first dramatic role, which, you know, he did fine with a limited role. I mean, I was a little taken aback when I first saw it. I was like, this is bizarre. But he was good. But everyone's just supporting the, you know, even though Ellen Burstyn is really just a secondary character to the couple. Though, you know, arguably, the Rachel Weisz character is more of like a muse, or I don't want to say a plot device, but definitely like a motivating force, or like a, you know, it's not really her story. It's, you know, in each iteration, it has to do with his love for this female kind of spirit that is like a muse to him, or that he worships. And in the original, it's his queen Isabella, and in this one, the modern, it's his wife Izzy. And then the future, we meet Major Tom, named after the Bowie song, obviously Space Oddity. And Major Tom is now the same character in the future. He's got his head shaven, and he travels the galaxy with the Tree of Life, kind of, which has the fountain within it, and the tree is dying, and they're trying to get to this star called Xibalba, which I think was mapped by the ancient Aztecs. They link these three stories together through this kind of mystical stuff, and they're trying to get to this star, I guess, to save the tree. And so the tree is kind of like Isabella reincarnated. I mean, in the future, the tree is what he's losing, you know. So they don't spend a whole lot of extra time on the conquistador story beyond a certain point, but they do spend a lot of time in the present day, but they also spend quite a bit of good time in the future. And the visuals are amazing. They did all the old tricks where they, put like gels and things between two pieces of glass, and made these viscous fluids, to make this. He took a lot of Kubrick's ideas and from 2001, and there's just some beautiful. It's science fiction, but it's very mystical. I mean, he's flying through space, he's immortal, but he's not on a spaceship. This mystical, tree, and he keeps. It's really sad because he keeps he'll flick off pieces of the tree, and he'll eat them, and that'll keep him immortal. So the implication is, he has been immortal since Tomas found the fountain. They don't ever explain how the modern day Tommy, how they don't deal with him dealing with his own mortality. But they do reinforce it by him telling Ellen Burstyn that, death is a disease, and I'm going to cure it. Because obviously it's been cured for him, but he can't cure his wife. And when Major Tom will flex the pieces off the tree, he's like, "Don't die," and he cries. And every time he cries, I start crying. And it's just so intense. And he in the present day, he loses his wedding ring when he's doing the scrubs for surgery or whatever. And in the future, he's had it tattooed on his finger. But then he's had all these other ring tattoos. And so he is like the tree. Each ring is a year he's been alive. So he's probably got, I guess, 1,000 rings.
Henry, could you back that up a couple of sentences? Yeah, you froze up there for a minute.
Oh no. Okay, how far?
Just maybe 2 or 3 sentences.
Wow. Okay. All right, I'll try. So
I think you were at like where he had the ring and he was eating pieces of the tree. Is that too far back? I don't know. He was eating pieces of the tree.
Yeah, and saying, "Please don't die." And
he's begging the tree not to die. We just like in the present day, he's begging, his wife not to die, and but he uses the tree's sap or whatever to stay alive and immortal. But yeah, in the present day, he has lost his wedding ring, so he's tattooed the wedding ring in that area by the time of the future. But not only that, but he's also done rings, around his fingers and other parts of his body. And each one is supposedly, I guess, a year of his life, because he and the tree they're symbiotic now. They're depending on each other for survival. And I guess there's no Earth left to return to, so they're just alone in the cold emptiness of space, and this giant bubble is encompassing them, and they're just floating like a teardrop through the stars. And there's a lot of cool matte shots and things where he does Tai Chi in silhouette, and he's kind of looks and acts kind of like a monk, and like this tree is like his holy thing that he's keeping alive and tending to. So as with Aronofsky, a lot of biblical and kind of mythical kind of overtones, undertones. In the present day, it's really the most heartbreaking, though, because, it is the most realistic, you're most grounded, and, he won't accept defeat, and he's torn between, see, his wife wants him to let her go and just enjoy the time they have together until she dies. He is torn because instead of spending all his time enjoying what time they have together, he spends all his time trying to find a cure for her. So it's just really painful and tragic, just all around. But I would say it's really just kind of, I don't know. I don't even know how to really. I don't know how to describe the ending. I've seen it a bunch of times, but I don't know. I'm not sure what the ending constitutes really with a character like that. I feel like she does die finally, but that's toward the very end of the film, and I don't know. He still wants to be able to conquer death even after she dies. He tells his boss, but I can't remember where Major Tom and the tree land though. But it
I
seems
don't believe they ever do. I don't think they ever do, if I remember correctly. That's sorry to jump in on you, but
okay. No, that's cool.
Mhm.
And that's there's a lot of, just like the whole thing about don't die. There's a line that she says that echoes through the entire movie where she says, "Finish it." It's just her whispering, and because she's been writing a novel. Okay, now in her novel, Tomas is the conquistador, and he's finding Xibalba, like the mythical, like Mexican death god Xibalba. Um, and when she dies, she wants Tommy to finish writing the book, but she's essentially writing his story. Um, you could ask, does he remember his past lives? I don't know. It's weird. How does she know? They just leave all this very open to you, and so when they get into the future, he hears her, her voice again, finish it. And um, a lot of times they'll just switch in mid sentence between time frames with him in his different incarnations and her in her different incarnations. And sometimes he's stuck in one. Like there's a scene where he's Major Tom and Izzy is talking to him. When you come out to the snow, you see her, and then he turns around and he's still got the shaven head. And then she talks to him again, and he turns around and he's back to present Hugh Jackman with kind of medium lengthish hair. He always looks better with long hair. He has longer hair in this than a lot of movies. But for some reason he insists on having short hair, but whatever. But I always think he looks good with longer hair and facial hair. But he looks cool bald too. I think he really shaved his head for this, because his hair was pretty choppy and shortish when he did the Wolverine 2 years later. But that was later than that. So I guess I guess it had grown out pretty. Oh no, it had gotten long by the time of that first Wolverine solo movie. So maybe it is a bald cap. I mean, I thought it was shaven, but I mean, I've been wrong before about this. The way makeup is now, I mean, it can be pretty flawless, but man, it must really hurt to have something that tight on your head. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's just pretty classic about, death and dying and grieving. I think grieving and just preparing yourself for someone to die that is going to die. And I've been through that with two parents, and more so my mom than my dad. I mean, I knew he was going to die because he was old, but my mom I knew was like terminally ill, and it's really just thank goodness I haven't. I think if a wife of mine had died, I don't know if I'd be here. I mean, losing my ex-wife and my ex-fiance, just losing them was pretty devastating. I think if they had passed away, I don't know if I would have made it, but I don't know. I'm told I'm stronger than I think I am, but well, whatever. So yeah, what do you think of this film, Briggie?
Well, I mean, of course I think it's phenomenal. Visually, it's just stunning. breathtaking. I remember seeing cards. I don't know if you remember, there was a time when people were like a card someone would give you for your birthday were blank inside. And that movie reminds me of some of the artwork that you would see on these cards. There were like bubbles with worlds inside of them, and
Mm.
trees and unicorns would be in there. It was like very
Uh,
do you remember seeing, I don't know if you remember seeing cards like that, but anyway.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
But it sort of reminded me of that. The scene where Hugh Jackman is in the bubble and he's kind of sitting, he's bald and he's sort of, that sort of represented to me that he was like the Buddha and he was like under
Mm.
the Buddha tree, the Bodhi tree, and
Hmm.
attaining wisdom. It kind of had that symbolism to me as well. So I thought that was
Mhm.
very cool, and that he and the tree were so connected, that the tree was giving him life as the tree was dying, and he was trying to hold on to and the essence of that by taking it, ingesting it, even though he was now not say trapped, but he was in this bubble, ascending with the tree, like I said, like the last remnants of Earth, and so here they were together. I thought that the acting was really superb in that they were able to go across these tell these three interlocking stories, but not give so much away that the director didn't give so much away that it kept you on the edge of your seat wondering, like, exactly what does this mean. It kind of made me want to travel inward more and understand what's the message. He was the conquistador, then he was looking for the fountain of youth, but then the Rachel Weisz character, I thought was the fountain of youth. I thought that's how I perceived that as well, that she was the fountain of youth.
She was the
And
tree too. Yeah.
yeah, and she was the
Well, the
tree, and she was
fountain
the
is within the tree in the future, but
right,
yeah.
right. And him wanting to cure death, I sort of saw that as like is life is eternal, so you're not dying, you're just manifesting in a different form. And
Well,
that was
it's like he found the fountain of youth and he did conquer death,
right
but he can't conquer it for other people.
for other people. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, so you're right. Yes, 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 yes.
And
100%.
if the tree dies, he might die too. Finally,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So it just kind of ends. There's no like big Hollywood bow that they put on this movie,
right,
which is what they do with a lot of movies.
right.
There's no big Hollywood bow like the movie, AI, you know. I thought that was interesting how that ended, but that's a different sci-fi movie. But there wasn't something to make everybody feel good at the end of the movie. You sort of had to leave with your own understanding, whatever that may be. So yes, costume wise, again, the musical score,
Oh yeah.
visually, if you got a big screen and you put yourself in the right headspace, if you know what I mean, this movie is really good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I
Yeah.
got the Blu-ray, I
Okay.
turned it up pretty loud. And I have a 55-inch HD.
Wow. Okay.
And I mean, it's not the newest model or anything, but it's still incredible. But I hadn't watched it on that TV in some years, and
Right.
I was like, "Wow, this is." Yeah, I got the soundtrack promo at Borders. We'd be able to take home these promo CDs, so we played a little on one of the listening stations, and then when it came down, I got to take it home, and I got to where I was writing a lot, and I would just put it on this little jam box that played CDs, and I would just keep hitting. I just hit repeat, and I would just have it on a loop for hours while I was drawing and writing and stuff.
Hmm.
It has this real insistent theme that keeps coming through it and mounting and kind of taking on different configurations. And yeah, Mansell, that's my favorite Mansell music. But
Hmm.
he's always good, regardless of
Yeah.
what he does, pretty much. I
So
think,
wait.
yeah.
So why did you think I would like it? You said this is a movie that Briggie's gonna like.
Because you
How did
told
you?
me once, because one time it came up one time and you and Keith did say you both loved the movie in one of our
Oh,
shows.
okay.
I don't know how
Okay.
it came up, but
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very good.
I've got a good memory.
Apparently, because I didn't even say it.
Any comments, gentlemen? Other than I want to
Well,
beat myself up for not having seen it yet?
No.
No, I'm kidding.
yeah, I haven't seen it, but it's an amazing ensemble of cast. I just looked it up online, and there's just tons and tons of people in it.
Yeah.
Quite well-known people as well.
Yeah. But it's really Hughes just a master stroke, I think. People,
There's a
people who just,
a Kiwi actor called Cliff Curtis who comes up as Captain something or other. Maybe it's in the Conquistador part of
oh
the
yeah.
film,
Oh, and also
Cliff
Mark Moranis or Mark Margolis, the older guy who plays the friar in the Conquistador scenes. Yeah, he's been a character actor for years. He plays the old Jewish guy in Pi, but years before he was in Scarface, he played the assassin who didn't speak English, who wanted to blow up the family and with the kids, and Scarface blew his head off.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, Mark Margolis has had a long career, but a character act. He was in he played the old man who couldn't talk in the wheelchair, who'd been a crook in Breaking Bad, who helped blow up Gus. He helped trick Gus into getting blown.
Yeah, with the bell. Sure. I remember that. That was a fabulous series.
Oh,
fabulous.
yeah. Most
Yeah, Mark Margolis was great in Scarface. I remember that character.
Yeah,
just sort of the mysterious guy in the background for most of the film, but turns out to be a complete psycho. Basically,
he was also the mobster who killed Daredevil's father in the Daredevil movie within Ben Affleck. But yeah, he gets around. He got around. I don't know if he's alive or not. If he is, he's probably 95. But I mean, he's looked about the same for 40 years. So
yeah, right.
Sorry.
Hi, you've been watching Deep Images. I'm Henry Covert, your host. This is Briggie Williams and C.F. Roberts, two of our most amazing panelists. And we've been talking about an incredible series here. We do these series sessions every so often. We break them into individual episodes. So we wanted to kind of give you a segue and let you know what you've just watched and what you can look forward to. So just want to remind you, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and support the channel any way you can. Do you guys have anything to say?
Yeah, like, subscribe, come back, see us. We don't bite. Type.
Do you like that? We like that. Let me tell you something. Leave some comments.
Hell yeah.
Leave something in the chat. If you like us, talk to us. If you don't like us, talk to us. We want to hear from you.
All right. Y'all have a good evening. Thanks for watching.